Hi there, Michelle Marsland of Marsland Accountants. And today I'm going to talk to you about the national minimum wage. So it's April, and in April, one thing happens near enough every year. They used to do it in October, but they changed it to April actually a few years back now. And that's the national minimum wage changes. Now, there's been a really big change this year. So watch this space. So yeah, it's going to make a big difference to employers. If they haven't picked it up already, then they really need to know about this. So what's happened in the national minimum wage? Well, it's gone up. It goes up every year, but it's gone up quite a bit for some people. So watch out for that. So I'll put the rates in a link below. And if ever you're not sure about where to find the rates, just use the gov.uk. It's always a good place to find out more information and reliable information about what's going on. So what's happened over the last year, we've had a lot of furlough and things like that. And one of the things that the national minimum wage people have picked up is that basically 18% of the people furloughed were under 25 last year. That's a lot of people. Considering only 11% of them were, of the population are under 25, that's a really high percentage. So that's had a big impact on how the people have looked at it and said, really, when it comes to the national minimum wage, or the national living wage as it's now called, it's been called that for a while actually, that we have to make changes. Now the big change they've made is from 1st of April 2021, i.e. so your first paychecks due next week, is anybody 23 and over will now get the new national living wage. In the past, I used to have two different versions, but now basically the national living wage is now basically for anybody 23 and over. All right, so that's quite a big change. So up to now, you see, if you were 23, 24, then you didn't get the national living wage. You only got the national minimum wage. Sorry, too many bits of wages, but yeah, it's confusing. So now £8.91, that's a big increase for some of the youngsters, which is great for the youngsters, but for an employer, you really have to be careful that you've got this right. All right, so yeah, so basically age 23 and over, you've got to use the new national living wage, which is £8.91 per hour. So don't forget that, please. All right, that's really important. There's a couple of exceptions, and the main exception really is if you're a director without a contract, you don't have to pay the national living wage. But if you've got a contract, you've got to go by what the contract says. And if you've got a contract, it means you've got to do the national living wage. So there are still national minimum wages as well, but those are for the younger people. So like the apprentices, for the people who are age 21, 22. But one of the other things I learned doing a bit of research is that by 2024, the government are aiming that everybody aged 21 and over will be over on the national living wage, the higher one basically. So whereas now it's staged at 21, 22, 23, etc. But now it won't be, you see. So basically once it gets over 21 and over, they'll all be on the national living wage. So it's quite a big change. And one of the things I think people might miss out on as well is they might forget that pensions, because auto enrolment comes in at £10,000 per annum. That hasn't changed for a long time. I can't remember how many years it is, but that hasn't changed for a very long time now. So don't forget, don't miss out, you see, on that as well, that you haven't, because they've had such a large increase, that basically suddenly, they might be entitled to a pension as well. Obviously, I'm not a HR advisor. I'm just an accountant, but you have to know a lot as an accountant. And one of the things you have to know is that the national living wage is now for age 23 and over. So please don't miss out on that. And please don't forget to pay them next week. Time to shine.